Welcome back, everyone. We're actually not going to be looking at a digital marketing trend today. I figured I'd switch things up. And for my digital marketing class, actually, we had to read two books and do a book critique. So I'm looking to read some parts from a paper I wrote on two different books, but we're going to be talking about just one of them today, which is Contagious: Why Things Catch On by author Jonah Berger. So I'll just give you some background on the book. It was written in 2013 with a focus on why certain products, services, ideas go viral and why they gain extensive popularity. The author of this book he's an international best-selling author and more importantly, a renowned expert in the fields of word-of-mouth marketing, viral marketing, social influence, and as I said, why products catch on. He lists 6 different criteria as to why things become contagious, and you don't need all 6 to become contagious, but having more the merrier, as they say. And those 6 would be social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and stories. And the two I really want to talk about today are social currency and triggers. So I'm going to go ahead with social currency. Basically, Jonah talks about the idea of social currency is the thought of how this product service makes people look to talk about, or like how it makes it look to talk about a product or idea. And this is important because people tend to want to look smart, like rather than dumb. I want to look cool. That's why I'm wearing this nice shirt. And lame, right? Within this principle, the author made reference to strategies you can incorporate and focus on to increase your social currency. The first one is inner remarkability. This is the idea of presenting remarkable things that are unusual, cool, worthy of attention. You want to talk about them, right? And they can be remarkable because they're extreme, surprising, cool. One example that were referenced in the book was Bullet Blend, which is actually a huge YouTube series that boosted this company called Blendtech into like massive popularity simply due to the fact that they were doing pretty remarkable stuff. They were blending items such as iPhones to prove durability of the blender, golf balls, a bunch of things you always kind of wanted to throw in a blender, but you simply can't do it, right? And since this was cool, surprising, it made it remarkable, and people wanted to discuss it, right? The second strategy is to make people feel like insiders. Nobody enjoys feeling left out of the loop about anything, right? And by making them feel like insiders, you can easily gain word of mouth. And word of mouth is really key. That's when people are talking about your product, telling each other about it, recommending it. Because as I mentioned in videos before, people tend to trust people. I think it was 92% of people trust the word of people they know, right? So that word of mouth is super important. Berger notes that the 2 best approaches to making someone feel like an insider is done through scarcity, which is about how much of something is being offered. Scarce things are less available due to high demand. And the second is exclusivity, which is also about availability, but in a different way because they're only available to people who meet certain requirements, right? It makes you feel VIP, it makes you feel cool, right? Utilizing both of these can help your product catch on extraordinarily due to the implication that they make, where if you're seen with these things, right, you seem more valuable because they're harder to attain. If they're sold out, it implies it must be a good product. Lots of people must like it. An interesting example of this is the McRib. which was introduced by McDonald's and was not originally overly popular. And it was like a full, like all the McDonald's had it. It was like across the country. Um, and eventually they took it off and they started making it available in only certain cities, and those rotated, so it was there for so long and then it was gone. And this caused people to rally behind their, like, they'd make groups or like, where's the McRib gonna be at, where's it at, where can I get it, why isn't this a full-time menu item, right? And sales went up so tremendously that I believe to this day it's still not a full-time menu item, just because of the idea of scarcity and exclusivity, right? Moving on to triggers. The idea behind triggers is, how do we remind people about our products and ideas? And triggers are a way to make people think about your product, service, idea when they are thinking of something that isn't necessarily related, right? The two important factors when looking into triggers is frequency, which refers to how often the trigger happens, and the strength of the link, which refers to how strongly linked your product and the trigger are. So, like, think of the color red. When you think of the color red, you might think of like heart, roses, love, right? There's a lot of different options, right? But when you think of peanut butter, you most likely think of jelly. So that's a really strong connection, link they have, right? The idea of triggers is super important, and an interesting example I thought I'd tell you guys about is with Kit Kat. I just saw it for the first time, actually, probably a couple weeks ago, but apparently Kit Kat had a really famous jingle, which was like, they used to say, "Give me a break." They used to like sing it. It was like very 80s-esque, right? And eventually Kit Kat started to lose some steam that they had from that campaign. Like, it kind of went on too long. Their sales were going down. People weren't really liking it anymore, and they wanted to reposition away from the jingle. And what they decided to do was market Kit Kat extremely hard with a trigger, which was coffee. When you think about coffee, it's something that's drank by a massive amount of people. Like, I know more people that drink coffee in the morning than don't, right? And by being able to associate Kit Kat with coffee, when that person goes for their coffee break in the morning and gets their coffee, they associate Kit Kat with that, and it makes them want to go get a Kit Kat on their coffee break and eat it with their coffee, right? So, what a thing to market yourself along. You know, coffee's not going anywhere. People are drinking it every single day. And when they did this, their sales shot up like exponentially. You know, and it's important to pick a good trigger. They could have easily went with like something like cantaloupe. Like, it sounds almost the same as coffee, but the trigger is going to happen way less, obviously, right? Because people are drinking coffee all the time. So it's important to think about how you position yourself along other types of products. Another really cool one is Mars Bar. When NASA was sending the rover to Mars, and they're doing all that trips, Mars Bar's sales shot up exponentially, simply due to the fact that people were talking about Mars, right? So it's a really cool idea. And thanks for listening today, guys. Maybe I'll do one of these book things again. I like to read. Stay busy. Thanks for listening.